We shall need an archer, 2 swordsmen. I trust you can recommend a set?
Trust? Me? Are you certain that's wise, Commander?
She's so pathetic.
The Lord of the Rings Episode 4, yet another masterpiece in which Middle-earth's most underqualified heroes stumble their way through world-altering events. Only so it's believable enough for us to be 100% convinced that this show was made as a money-laundering scheme. So the elves are preparing to head off to go see Sauron. Remember that Galadriel is somehow going along with them, but Elrond is now put in charge, as he should be, but not really. I swear to God, it takes a lot of patience to accept this as a real functioning person. And still, I have an issue with the stupid High King elf somehow thinking it's a good idea to bring her along, despite him resting assured that Elrond and their orc groupies are enough to confront Sauron or accomplish this mission. You know, giving that Galadriel's somehow a better fighter than all of them combined, but whatever.
It's just under 150 leagues. We shall need an archer, 2 swordsmen. I trust you can recommend a set?
Trust? Me? Are you certain that's wise, Commander?
You stupid bint, what is your problem? Oh my god, why is she getting so upset? If you're really gonna be that snarky, then maybe you shouldn't even go on the mission. I feel like she's just angry because she's not leading the mission, which she knows she's not qualified to do. None of this makes sense because, once again, even though she's the least qualified and least trustworthy person in all of elfdom, somehow she still manages to be given one of the rings of power. And she wasn't even given the freaking ring. It fell down in front of her and she put it on, and her sugar daddy elf just let her keep it because.
At the High King's urging, I agree.
That was Elrond wanting to have said something, but he was keeping his mouth shut.
Are you certain that's wise, Commander?
At the High...
The way he stared at her was like, you know, I could say a million things right now, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I don't want to embarrass you any more than you're embarrassing yourself.
He was first lieutenant. But if you deem that duty beneath you, I will choose another.
Oh my god, I love it. I love him so much. Oh my god. Yo. What? Oh my god, the shade. Oh, okay, I changed my mind. I'm not just watching this for Sauron. I'm watching this for Elrond and his freaking shade that he keeps throwing at Galadriel because it's so freaking funny. Oh my, look how upset she is. Just sitting there with her painted on freaking eyebrows. She is... What are you upset over? Doesn't make any sense.
Are you certain that's wise, Commander?
Appoint you as first lieutenant. But if you deem that duty beneath you, I will choose another.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Bro, don't play with him. Oh my god, I love it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's so freaking rare to see an actual, like, male character bite back. Everyone's always, like, super afraid of the women. And I'm sorry, but she is a freaking colubrid. And nobody is putting her in her place. I'm glad somebody's doing it.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, I can recommend an archer and 2 swordsmen. Who else should we take with us, Commander?
I'm sorry, but I do have to point out one other glaring issue here, because I can't just put it all on Galadriel. As much as I love Elrond, he outright defied the High King's direct order to hand over the rings, and he's somehow promoted to lead what is essentially a hunting party. It doesn't matter what his reason was for doing it. I find it interesting that the king would trust the guy that literally said no to him when asked to give over the most powerful artifacts in existence currently. And he basically thanks him for his insolence by letting him command over an expedition. So let's send the 2 people who are the least trustworthy given the circumstances to go do a job that you need complete trust for someone to do. Let's not send any other elf in this entire kingdom who is more qualified and who can actually follow orders or use sound judgment. But Elrond and Galadriel, yes, let's send them. So what is the message supposed to be here? Because it seems to me that the message is, if you just ignore your rulers, don't take responsibility for everything or anything, then they'll hand over command of their army right to you. Like, it's legitimately a wonder how the High King Elf manages to rule at all, considering how the elves in positions of authority are basically being rewarded for their insubordination. There's no lessons learned, no consequences. Everyone just rebels in front of the king, mind you. Cinematic, 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 map. Anyway, they reach this bridge and there's a sheer drop. And I don't know what is it with the camera angles. Like, let's spend a 2-minute segment just showing you the map painting and the compositing and what we have done and accomplished. See how real it looks? And it does look nice. I'll give it that.
Lightning.
Excuse me? What kind of lightning do they have in Middle-earth that would cause this?
No earthly force could do this.
I mean, I guess you guys don't have machines and stuff, but do you not think, like, with enough men, you could destroy a bridge if you're trying to put up one again? No earthly force at all? Is the bridge made of magic? Again, if this is something that is lore binding, the people who were coming in, who are probably the only people watching the show, would not know anything about that. So you would need to make that freaking clear. Because to me, it just looks like a broken stone bridge, and there's a lot of earthly forces that could break a bridge. Shouldn't all the elves have long hair? Why does this guy have short? You couldn't find a freaking wig to put on this dude? You put one on everybody else. And why does this person look as though all the other elves he's standing next to smell really bad?
To circumvent it, we shall either have to turn due north, adding 2 weeks to our journey.
Or
We go south.
Through the hills of Turin Gortad.
So Galadriel starts feeling weird and she starts hearing the voice on the wind whispering. She sees, I guess, like this evil thing, which is the future or some alternate reality. And she's like, oh my God, evil. But the ring is allowing her to see glimpses of whatever this reality is, which obviously she sees as an advantage.
There is evil in those hills.
I don't know why, but when she said that, something just went through my mind. A religious mom who's trying to control her son. She knows that he likes a girl next door, and that's her way of saying it without saying it, that he shouldn't sleep with her. You do not want to be caught in sin. There are evil in those hills. That's the way she'd say it. You know, the kind of people that say deflower instead of your virginity being taken. But anyway, Elrond knows why she knows these things. He does not want her to have any influence over the group if she's being led by the ring, which she is. And again, if that is the case, I don't know why she's being brought along. I don't know why Elrond didn't just tell the king that he shouldn't take Galadriel with him on this mission.
Ancient. And filled with malice.
Are you talking about yourself? Hate to break it to you, but that's kind of everywhere all over Middle-earth, isn't it? Elrond knows that the enemy is watching both roads.
this collapse makes it more critical than ever to reach Celebrimbor at speed.
We won't reach anywhere at speed if we walk into a trap.
We go south.
Commander, I must protest.
Maybe it's just me, I feel stupid here, but what they're about to say just went over my head. And maybe it's because I was trying to stay awake during the scene. If the enemy's watching where he knows they're gonna go, does it really matter where they travel?
Your opinion on the matter has been heard.
Elrond.
Opinion heard, Lieutenant. We go south, Menno.
Ooh, you're gonna get a stern talking to. She undermined him in front of everyone, which was very disrespectful.
This company will not take counsel from that trinket. Nor will you.
I'm sorry, but how will you know she's doing it? If she's still wearing it, why did you have her even wear it in the first... If you know that the ring is influencing her, why not make it a requirement for her to leave it behind with the king? Why have her take it with, now you're telling? This is so dumb. Because he knew that it was influencing her before. So that was stupid on his part. Or why not have her take it off? Because now anything she says, even if it's not from the influence or voice of the ring, he has no idea how to differentiate that. And it's not like she's going to tell the truth. You can't trust this woman.
If you cannot abide by those terms, you will leave now and return to Lindon.
I should like to.
Then why do you not?
Because I do not wish to see any of this company slain.
You freaking liar. That is not why you went. You were begging to go because you wanted to meet Sauron again. Let's be honest. I hate how they write Galadriel to be this holier-than-thou ultra fighter as if no other elf can survive without her jumping in to save them. I bet if Legolas and she were in the same room, Legolas would forget how to fight and trip over his own hair so that she could swoop in and save him from himself. It's nauseating. It doesn't make her relatable in the least. It would have been more relatable and more humble if she said, I want to help. I want to help set things right and I want to make up for my missteps. But that's so hard for her to do. And yet this is the main character that we're supposed to be rooting for, or are we not supposed to be rooting for her?
Including you.
And you being there is gonna make all the difference, is it? Anyway, we get the segment from Gandalf from Wish following a goat and forgetting that Nori is gone. Oh, but now he's calling for both of them. He sees a farmer and it's this other incredibly mysterious person. Why are they filming him like that? Like we're supposed to know who he is. Oh my god, let it just hang there. Spin, 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 close up, macro shot. Okay, back a little bit. Okay, stare, smile, hold it, hold it, hold it, scene. I feel like if we were in the theater and this guy turned around, people would start clapping because he's a cameo or something. It's so cringe.
See, you found the goat.
It wasn't quite what I was searching for.
Then why were you following it? Okay, let's just say maybe he thought the goat was taking him back to civilization and he could find Nori and Poppy there. It's clearly not following it for food, so I guess it would help going to find people so that you can get their help to help find your friends.
Well, there's what you're searching for, and there's what you find now, isn't there?
Ew. In other words, you were searching for two women, but you found me. Now what you gonna do?
Hey, dog.
Ring a dong, tell Sand fly.
There are some stars above your hill,
Stars above most hills.
but my friends and I were looking for these stars. I had hoped that...
Why don't you? Oh my god, bro, Grandpa, what are you doing?
Pardon me, I don't suppose you've seen a pair of halflings on this way.
You know, also given the fact that they're in a desert with extremely limited amounts of water, that he himself had almost passed out from lack of water, his friends Nori and Poppy could be hurt somewhere from being flung by the tornado. But then again, they could also be lying down in their own pools of blood while also needing water. And he's acting as though urgency is not of the essence, when before they were quite urgently trying to have saved him when he was thirsting. You know, you'd think he'd show a little bit more urgency when talking to this random guy, but no, he barely mentions his friends, and when he does, he acts as though he expects that they should have casually landed on a cloud somewhere.
But my friends and I were looking for these stars. I had hoped that... my apologies. Just a moment.
Yeah, that was the other bearded guy's way of letting him know he could care less about his friends or the stars he's supposedly trying to find, though it's meant to come off all mysterious and godlike. Then Slender Man Santa comes upon a tree that has a familiar looking branch, one that the paper just happens to land on, and I'm guessing he thinks it's the staff from his dreams, and so he tries to jerk it, and the tree gets very turned on and clenches so freaking hard when it climaxes that it ends up swallowing Skelefied Gandalf.
This is writing.
I'm sorry. I do not feel sorry for him in the slightest because all I'm thinking is, bruh, the paper... the paper that you were chasing that is incredibly important is just sitting there when you could have grabbed it and put it in your pocket or between your legs or whatever. But you're just letting it sit there when the wind had blown it off before. Wind is still blowing, by the way. You couldn't take the paper off the branch and then continue trying to rip the branch off the tree? Was I the only one extremely frustrated watching that? Even after he's grabbed the branch, he still doesn't take the paper. It's so hard to relate to these characters or have any feeling of sympathy towards them when they're constantly making very stupid decisions that just throw all logic out the window. It's like watching a horror movie where people choose a piece of fruit as a weapon rather than an actual weapon.
Stupid people.
How the hell?
So are we surprised that Nori and Poppy happened to not only survive being taken up by a tornado and lucky enough to avoid any debris hitting them, but also they were sucked up by the tornado up to what seems to be hundreds of feet into the air and then carried some impressive distance away where they would have been thrown by the tornado or dropped from a great height only to land on extremely rocky ground right next to each other, and somehow they're not even bruised. Unless I'm mistaken, it didn't seem as though Harfoots were made of titanium or some other incredibly durable material. We've heard of the ways that they've gotten killed. In season 1, they were joking around about one of them having been killed by bees. I mean, if you ignore the sociopathic way they were making light of someone being killed, it seems as though normal everyday things can hurt these things. I mean, that's what makes them relatable to us as humans, right?
Take their wheels and leave them. What's it gonna take?
You know, Malva, just once, it would be grand if you weren't right all the time.
The way that they are so cavalier about, let's take their wheels off their car and leave them. Y'all got rules that y'all enact to do this to your own people. Aside from just the perilous walk, this is just because you're so small.
Nobody goes off trail. That's right. Lovo Balja book. bees.
Why are they laughing?
Again, we're supposed to like these characters and feel related to them, or they're supposed to come off as relatable. They're tiny versions of humans that are more adaptable, but they're still essentially more or less humans, or kinds of humans that would probably require a great miracle or medical intervention if a rock hit them in the head and their skull split open. Somehow, though, we're supposed to believe that Nori and Poppy landed on some rocks on very hard ground, and they didn't fall on their heads or necks or break their backs, yet they have no bruising, no blood whatsoever, they're not in pain, they're both A-okay.
I loved him, but he was an idiot.
We wait for you.
You have lied, you've stolen, brought a dangerous outsider into our midst.
Our laws are clear. Any Harefoot that breaks them is to be decaravanned.
Tomorrow we depart as planned, and the Brandyfoot cart will be with us. At the back of the caravan. At the back? At the back.
You may as well have stamped our name in the book of the left behind.
Poppy! Get up!
So this bitch, knowing what had happened, assumes that her friend Poppy is completely okay, even though she's lying over there, and she never once considered that Poppy could be hurt or dead. We don't even see her get up and express any concern as to whether or not her friend was okay, even though Poppy does get up later. Seriously, who is writing this, and how do they expect the audience to care when they clearly don't even care about their own characters? I don't know why this scene made me so freaking angry, but I seriously cannot stand Nori. And as a matter of fact, I can't stand most of the characters now in the stupid show. Maybe it's a good thing that the hobbits evolved from those stupid Harfoot creatures, because good grief. When you look at the parallel of how the hobbits treated each other in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, even though it has its issues, they're way more likable and a much better example to set. I hate how sometimes I sound like the freaking narration thing from TikTok that people use.
Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you. But I can carry you. Come on!
Oh my god, is anyone else crying? Oh my god. Whew. Freaking eyes, man. Stop. God damn it. It's not that serious. This scene alone, we see how caring Sam is for his friend. He's constantly worried about him. Damn, Sam was cute. I wonder if Jon Snow and Sam Tarly is supposed to be like another version of this. Everyone has a fat friend named Sam who's super sweet and really handsome. If Nori is supposed to be a stand-in for Frodo, she's doing a horrible job. Because yes, while it does seem as though Sam was more worried about Frodo all the time, Frodo clearly cared more about his friend and friends in general than Nori seems to about her best friend. Are you kidding me? Even if I woke up and I realized what happened and I didn't know where I was and I saw my other friend just lying there, I'd be so worried about her. My sensitive ass would have been running over there crying before I even knew what happened, because the thought of anything happening to my best friend would just be too much. And I would be wishing, hoping, and praying the entire time, even though she's only 2 feet away, that when I go over to her, that she's okay. I wouldn't even want her to move. I would want to like make sure that all her toes were working, ask her if she's feeling any pain anywhere. I'd be so protective of her. And I wonder if it were the other way around and this little Chucky doll was the one that was unconscious, if Poppy would have treated her like that.
Get up! Never mind, where is he? Where are we?
So they were worried about the stranger, aka Gandalf from Dollar Tree, asking where he is, and they realize they're lost. And I like how they just walk off everything like this is the 700th time that this has happened to them. I mean, why were there so many Harfoot deaths if these things are obviously made of steel? Why are they so terrified of anything happening to them? So they hear horses, and obviously they're still being followed, and so they fling themselves off a shallow cliff after having been thrown by... Never mind.
I think we lost them.
Yeah, let's scream at the top of our lungs, why don't we? Even if you thought you lost them, it's possible for sound to carry, so I would at least whisper or something until you know the danger is past, freaking idiots. I mean, if these things were able to follow the tornado, they obviously know that you guys dropped around here somewhere, and if they're so good at tracking you from the beginning with you guys being on foot, then why would you feel safe when you're still in the immediate vicinity? Why are we even following these characters? They're so boring.
Where'd you lot come from?
I am so sorry. I don't mean to be mean, but this is the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen in the show next to the orcs. Like, what the fuck is even this design? His ears look like chopped off cow tussie. You know, I watched a video, I think it's, yeah, from Vietnam. I believe it's Vietnam street food, and they basically cut off cow flaps and prepared them while making it look very inappropriate. I mean, there's no other way to make it look appropriate when you have to tenderize and rub the meat of cow tussie. Fucking nasty, man. But then when I saw this guy's ears, that's what it immediately put me in mind of. Then he has this stupid look on his face, and then he acts like the stupidest person on the show. I feel like he and Galadriel would probably combust if they were locked in the same room and stood too close to each other, because both of them have this overwhelming amount of stupidity that the particles of it would just be too volatile, and they would both explode.
Us? Where'd you come from? Oh, my head.
Are we serious right now? Fucking A, man. So let me get this straight, right? A tornado drops them on some hard rocks after being flung from hundreds upon hundreds of... It is a magical tornado, so let's assume it's hundreds of feet into the air. They're dropped on very hard rocks, not grass. Hard rocks. Where an impaled debris just managed to not hit them. But Poppy falls off a shallow cliff, and now her head is hurting? Okay.
Live here?
Harfoots live here.
What's an Harfoot?
Well, you are. Who are you exactly?
I'm nobody.
So he's he's flabbergasted, and as a result, he's forgotten that he has a name. I swear half of the scenes is him ogling Poppy, and Poppy ogling him, and wasting time pretending as though them asking who he is doesn't mean they want his name.
Well, he can't be nobody.
That's what everybody calls me.
Well, if everybody calls you nobody, doesn't anybody call you somebody?
Well, my mum calls me Mary Mac.
So he's a dumbass. That's what we're gathering, right? We've all reached that conclusion, correct? Good to know. If everyone calls you nobody, doesn't somebody or anybody call you somebody? Is that supposed to be freaking funny or something? So it's even more solidified now that we're supposed to hate this character, because I don't know what the purpose of the stupid dialogue is. People actually read the script and said, wow, this is so breathtakingly spry. And they thought that their job was gonna do well. They thought this was gonna spearhead their career.
Well, my mum calls me Mary Mac.
I'm Poppy.
Oh my god, fuck off. Then Poppy gets all aggressive all of a sudden to force this big-eared dude to take them to his village and basically threatens violence upon him. If you don't look too close, you won't notice how much like robbers they seem.
Or dwell leader. And if you want her to even think about taking you in, there's 4 rules. 1, never look her in the eye. B, always stand 3 steps back. 4, don't ever, no matter what, call her the Goond.
So if that's a very important rule, then why would you even mention that she's the Gund to them? It's not like they're a member of your clan. You don't know them because they're strangers. Up until very recently, you didn't even want them to come into your village, and they caught you stealing water from that well. So it seems kind of counterintuitive to give them the ammunition to the very thing that you don't want them to do, but whatever, I guess it's supposed to be funny. So then we get an introduction to the inside of the Sandrock village, where funny enough, most of the hobbits from Wish, aka Desert Harfoots, actually look like they belong to this environment, sporting ethnic phenotypes of what I imagine little humanoid people living in a harsh environment where they're constantly exposed to the sun would look like. I'm honestly just amazed that they have fresh fruit and vegetables like lettuce growing very close nearby. Now I would have expected something a little bit more believable, like types of cacti or other types of plants that are more suited for the environment, but whatever, that's asking for too much.
Harfoots living in holes.
So Nori is amazed that they're living in holes when somebody speaks up and says it's because they're not Harfoots, they're stores. And oh no, the minute I saw this woman, I immediately sighed because I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming because you can bet money on this, and 90% of the time you're correct, that in modern TV shows, you're going to have a dark-skinned woman being super aggressive or angry or snobby and better than everybody else, like Galadriel, but worse. And the show did not disappoint.
We're stores.
Stores?
What were you thinking bringing them here? Nobody's that stupid.
They just needed a place to hide.
What with all the devils in the desert searching for him? Boy, if we put your brains in a vulture, it'll fly backwards.
Be nicer to him.
Oh man, you really told her now? Oh, she's totally gonna listen to you. You've commanded her, and now she shall listeneth. Good job, Poppy. Did she really expect that was gonna work? This is how, do they not have communication skills? Aren't they like a highly social demographic? No, because they leave each other behind.
Boy, if we put your brains in a vulture, it'll fly backwards.
Be nicer to him.
Are you talking back sass to me?
Oh, that was the fourth rule.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't feed you leg, limb, and joint to those Gaudrum hunting you out there.
Because you're a human being, or you're a Harfoot and so are we. Man, this woman they need to tone her down. I swear to God. Why'd they have to make her a dark-skinned woman? Like, bro, she just came in from freaking not even 0. She just amped up to 9,000. But, you know, representation and all that shit. You see what I mean? Go back a few of my videos that don't even have to do anything with Rings of Power, and you'll see that this is a recurring theme. People think I was joking.
And mountains and deserts to help my friend find his destiny. One the fate of the world may well depend on, yours included.
I said one good reason. This friend of yours. Who is he anyways?
Why is she so rude? Like, and Nori is so stupid. Of all the things you could have said, look, we just need a place to stay, you know, we lost our group, anything else. But she gives her this big song and dance like she's supposed to care. Then you would tell her later, nobody has any communication skills.
He's not an elf, he's a wizard.
And of course, this woman does not like this. She says the only wizard under these skies is the dark wizard, so you must be one of them. Meanwhile, the supposed dark wizard sees the skeleton mask guy, and he says that the wizard is more strong than he anticipated because he conjured a sandstorm from thin air that killed 2 of my men. So wait, it killed 2 of this guy's men, these hardy-looking desert warriors, but Nori and Poppy are okay. Right.
Let the Harfoots be your sole concern. I will see to the Eastar myself.
Why didn't you do that from before then? Why do you even need these people anyway? So then the stupid bearded guy who's like, oh, I'm super powerful and super kind. Like, I'm Rafiki, bro. And he tries to ease the tree because he knew this tree was going to eat Gandalf from Wish.
Drink water. Go to sleep.
The thing did go to sleep after your friend over here jerked him off. So after this dude, Ginger Santa, uncurls the tree's toes, he introduces himself as Tom Bombadil. He gives Gandalf, you know what I mean, a bath.
And come join me by the fire.
What if that landed on his jewels? I mean, the water resistance, I would be so freaking, I'm like, dude, can you be careful?
Don't be bashful now, Goldberry. When the night shall fall, then the door will open.
So of course, Discount Gandalf sees things moving. He hears a woman singing in the living room with Ginger Santa, and he asks him if there was a woman singing, and he's like all coy, acting as though he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Is somebody out there with you?
I thought I heard a woman singing.
Woman? What woman?
Is no one else here with you?
You're here? As I think you are you?
Are we being for real? Are they gonna say that he's a woman? I don't know. So they do a whole bunch of, I guess, exposition. This guy's supposed to be a powerful wizard. He plays word games with Gandalf from Tamu. He says you're not the first Ishtar that has come here. Apparently he's older than Gandalf from Wish, but doesn't look it. He's apparently the eldest. He remembers the first raindrop, the first acorn, so he was here before or while Middle-earth was being formed. Correct? The tree out there is apparently Old Man Ironwood. All of this is just a waste of time, and it's supposed to show that this guy is super powerful, but Gandalf wants this guy to help him. Sorry, not Gandalf, you know what I mean, from Temu. wants this guy to teach him how to use his powers because he realizes that he is powerful. This dude wants to know how to wield a staff. And Tom Bombadil says it's yours to wield already if you prove yourself worthy of it, and all of this freaking rigmarole that people always say in these freaking movies and shows to make their potential students feel as though they were stupid and they had the power in them all along and wasting time. It turns out, surprise, surprise, this is who, not Gandalf, was supposed to find all this time. Apparently, we did all of this round and about we go just for this guy to have a conversation with Gandalf from Temu to let him know that he was the one who was going to have to defeat Sauron.
Your task is to face them both.
And after having asked for his friends like only once, I think, after the initial time, he's completely forgotten about them. This is when we cut back to Elrond and the mission party, and they're in this creepy forest. It's a crypt where they had laid their lords and kings to rest. The trees are ill at ease, all of this looks bad, and I'm sure this is the place that Galadriel had told them was probably evil.
For a moment, I thought I heard.
Heard? You very clearly saw a pair of eyes staring at you, bro. Why do people do that in these shows? They clearly see something and people are like, are you okay? What happened? Oh, I just smelled something really bad and saw something with teeth cut around the corner. I think I thought I heard a bird. Like, dude, just say the truth. Like, why would they edit it that way if he in fact heard something? Unless their senses are flipped around for some reason on elves, and elves hear with their eyes and see with their ears.
I thought I heard.
Heard? What did you hear?
It was almost like a song.
Was it now? Jesus Christ. This is when they find out that the letter that was supposed to be dispatched didn't get there, and then they get attacked by Barrow-wights.
Dive on! Don't let go!
Why is the black elf the first one that dies?
Prepare yourselves. What are they?
Are we seriously doing the Avengers thing? See what I mean? It's such an iconic scene that when Rings of Power tries to do that with these people that we don't even know half of them, it comes across so freaking stupid. Like, what are you even? Who are you trying to fool? You're not Avengers. You're not even proper elves. Wait a minute. There were 6 of them in this group, and there were supposed to be 6 of the elves in this group, but they killed off the black one so they could do the shot. That's so freaking rude. Seriously, you couldn't have done that before you killed off the black elf? I swear to God, I can hear the freaking writers being like, well, technically we couldn't see him, so that's why we killed him off. Racist. This looks like a cutscene for a mobile game. Well, then they soon discover that their weapons don't work against these Barrow-wights. They just keep reanimating.
They're impervious to our weapons.
Thank you for pointing that out, because we wouldn't have realized that had you not said something. But they'll take care of it, barely an inconvenience. Somehow Galadriel doesn't hear the chain sneaking up on her. But no matter, Elrond saves her using the weapons that the ghosts and the creepers were buried with. I'm actually very shocked that they allowed Galadriel to be saved by someone. That's crazy to me. And by Elrond of all people.
According to law, only the blades with which they were buried will return such creatures to rest.
But the men buried here have been entombed for over 1,000 years.
I think it's safe to say that something has awoken them.
This isn't the only scene where they do this exposition dump, but it just comes across as so freaking ridiculous. Rings of Power is really good at shoving exposition dumps down our throats, as if we're all oblivious as to what just happened on screen in front of our eyes.
According to law, only the blades with which they were buried will return such creatures to rest.
I just realized when putting on the subtitles that the other woman elf had said how before She asks how, and then he immediately says, like, this doesn't even feel like real conversation. It's like he was waiting for them, or the writers knew people would be asking. So they had one of the elves actually ask how, so that Elrond could pause, not even, because the ashes of the freaking ghost aren't even dissipated yet, before he explains to the other elves that only the blades with which they were buried can return such creatures unto rest. No shit, Elrond. You literally just showed us that. We all watched Elrond retrieve a magical spear, hand it to Galadriel, and use it to defeat the Whites. All of them did that. The audience has eyes. We get it. There's no need to spell out what we just witnessed in real time. And then... as if hand-holding and spoon-feeding us wasn't enough already.
I think it's safe to say that something has awoken them.
This dumbass is like, really? You don't say. You mean to tell me that evil Barrow-wights don't just wake up and start wreaking havoc for fun? Obviously, it's Sauron's doing, which we all know because Sauron's alive. The trees are wilting and evil has been creeping its way back to Middle-earth. This has been established time and time again. They already know it. We already know it. But no, let's slow everything down so we can re-explain and remind the audience, because the show is so boring you probably already know that everyone has fallen asleep. And when I say boring, I mean to most of the audiences, they're not even watching this, to be honest. But yes, remind us time and time again of the basic plot point, just in case we somehow missed it. And for us to have done that, there had to have been those that aren't watching the show, or if they are watching it, it's just going on in the background. People often get annoyed of this because this kind of spoon-fed exposition is not only insulting, but it just completely kills the momentum of the scene and insults the intelligence of the audience.
I think it's safe to say that something has awoken them.
No. Someone.
You don't say.
So the scene shifts to Arondir and Isildur, and they're all looking for Theo, because everyone loves him. For some unknown reason, he's such a nothing character, just like his mom, who got killed off screen. That's how insignificant their plot is.
This way. Let's go.
Do not torture yourself, Numenoria. Theo has survived far worse.
He has? Oh, I think my memory is failing me. What has he survived for? How do you know what's actually happening to him? You don't even know if he's alive or being tortured right now. So what are you talking about? I think the elf is saying this more for his benefit. I know this is me nitpicking, but a thought just crossed my mind, and I wonder, like, why do a lot of these elves have these stupid ass haircuts? Culturally, I believe that elves would wear their hair long, and then it made me wonder if whether or not the actors themselves were too bougie to wear wigs. So Arondir sees a torch in the distance, and he calls out to the person, only to see that it's a severed limb and a corpse, and this would be enough reason to believe that something horrible has befallen Theo. So Caramel Elf Dude states to the humans that this wasn't done by mortal men. The rest of the regular humans assume that it was done by certain creatures.
They're animals. They'd eat human flesh if they had to.
Every minute we waste is another Theo still out there. We've got to keep searching.
How do you know he's alive? I mean, I'm not mad at him for searching for him because he feels responsible for him, but don't expect to find a live person. Then we get these two flirting all the time, as if she has forgotten that she has a fiancé.
You missed a spot.
Right.
But then you say, I'm not a hoe. Why you want to look like one?
That's right.
What is it about a hoe that's appealing to you, hoe? What the ho you doing?
Thanks.
Fancy you never want for water on your island.
No, Numenor, we have water in most of our homes.
I'd like to see that.
I wager you're betrothed with two.
So while she's doing her thoughty ways, Arondir sees them, and he's been watching her. And they're about to leave when Arondir stops them, because he's like, no, hold up. Your thoughterry is just on full display that you are making yourself a huge target. You spent a lot of time with the Wildman, didn't you? Then she starts getting all nervous. Her hamstring starts sweating. He calls her out. The Wildman didn't harm her. And he said, I'm just asking because I noticed that wound on your neck. And she says, I fell asleep by the fire. Bro. How? Arondir is not buying this, and he says, we all do foolish things sometimes. How about you show me that neck, bro? Her running just made her seem more guilty. Like, how are you gonna throw a freaking vase at an elf? Like, what did you think? How did you think that was gonna go? So he shows the mark of Sauron on her neck. It's a self-burn to hide the mark, which makes it obvious that you had the mark, but you can still kind of see it. And apparently that's something the wild men do to hide the mark of Adar. I call it the mark of Sauron because it looks like that. So he says, well, she's gonna lead us to the others. And yeah, you know, if this video is like cropped a certain way, this looks like a completely different scene. There you go now, lass, you're bread. Oh my god, how could you? You are a thought. So this guy's mad and like, what were you gonna do, huh? You saw that I was a Numenorian and you were gonna take advantage of me, right? Stalk me and shit? You were using me. I mean, technically she could have killed you before. Then she has the audacity to ask,
Wait, you don't even have a betrothed.
Would you rather I died in Mordor?
bitch, I don't care. Why would I care about you? You deceived me, and as far as I'm concerned, you're a villain who's aligned with the Wildmen and possibly the people of Adar. Why would you think I would remotely have any feelings towards your well-being? Then we discovered that Long Beach Griffey's long-lost child has been taken by the hen, or whatever they are, the tree people, which was very obvious, with a bunch of other people.
Might be easier to balance if I had use of my hands.
Might be easier for my peace of mind if I chopped your hands off. How about that? While she's asking to be unlocked, he gets stuck. I don't know how he managed to fall in there. Did he? I guess he was walking and wasn't paying attention, and then he dove in. But now there's a problem, something sucking him, and because we need some excitement, he gets pulled underneath and drags Arondir with him. How did they survive? We think the girl's gonna be like, well, yeah, that sucks. I'm leaving.
Deuces.
And they're in there for a while. And then she puts a stick in. She ran all the way so far away so she could grab a stick when there were like thousands of sticks right near her. So I can only deduce that she ran away initially because she was gonna straight up run away, but then she changed her mind. Her forearms, bro. Do you see those things? They look like they're made of like 2 forearms. Meanwhile, mine are over here look like twigs. Jesus Christ. We think that she could save them until this big worm thing with antlers coming out of its mouth gets mad. I don't know what the purpose of that is. But as it's about to kill her, Arondir slices it out. How they survive that, I don't know. So he's like, you know what? This is supper. And in this light right here, he almost looks like an orc.
You two are to be cast out at sunrise. Sorry, but Stores must come first.
Why is he tied up? Is it because she thinks he's gonna let them go? But don't worry, they're not in any real danger. Because they're like, yeah, our leader Sadok Burrows, he would have done the same. Don't know why you would have said his name. That's not a realistic dialogue exchange. It would have been, our leader would have done the same. Not our leader Sadok Burrows would have done the same. Because that's only implying that she would know who that is. Which she wouldn't, so it's written that way in this cringy dialogue manner. So that the woman can ask who Sadok is, because she's heard of him. So Nori can tell her the story about her leader, and so this woman can be like, oh my god, the legend? There was a store, and he dreamed one night of a place with endless streams of cold water, rolling hills. He said he'd come back for us when he found it, and took a few of us with him, but that's the last any of us ever heard of Rorimas Burrows. Oh my god, and Nori realizes it's the walking song. How wonderful. So then she's like, have you all come back here to lead us to the Suzat? And that's when Nori says we don't have a home. I don't know why this would be an issue for Nori if this is all she's ever known. If you're migratory people, I don't think you would miss the idea of having a home or cry about that, because that's always been your way of life. The wildebeests don't be like, oh my god, I wish I had a mansion so I could sit down and eat a bucket of corn. Like they don't fathom that. Just like you guys can readily leave each other at the back of the caravan when you're injured, it shouldn't be anything for them to not have a home. So I don't really understand the meaning behind this here. Is a home something always Nori wanted? Like, whatever. But oh no, we get the strangers appearing, and these people are, you can tell like how much larger they are than these guys. I figured they'd be much smaller, but oh well. They tracked them down and found them, which is a problem.
To what do we owe the pleasure?
Wow. Okay. You know, I'm sorry, but for some of these characters, I'm not even, I don't care. Why was I laughing when that happened? See, if that happened to any other character in any other show where they're well written and actually likable, I would be like, oh no. But with her, because she's just so unlikable from the get, I'm like, oh my god, that's what you get, you bitch. She's like, guess this is one of those rare times I have to keep my big ass mouth shut. Oh no. no.
Gonna cry?
I like how he helps her up afterwards. Like, all right, it's okay. Now that we've established that you need to keep your fucking trap shut, where are the Harfoots? Now she chooses not to speak. She speaks carefully and says the only halflings that she knows about in this desert are stores. Then this guy, I'm sorry, but this was a really intimidating line. He asks,
Do you know why we wear these masks? Defy the Dark Wizard, and when we return with him, you will find out for yourselves.
not gonna lie, that was kind of terrifying. Someone says, you know why we wear these? No. You'll find out. I'm sorry. Those freaking Harfoots, I'd be like, you know what? It's been great. Y'all gotta leave. Like, first of all, now they know where we live. That's a problem. We're in a house and they now know our location. So us staying here, like what? We need to pack up and go. We cut back to Elrond and Galadriel and her trying to convince him that she can see things that are going to happen with this ring. She sees something. She's like, sacrifices are going to have to be made. And then we get a scene of Elrond and Celebrimbor dying or getting hurt. He tells her defeating Sauron will come first even before you. Why does this elf look so goofy? They all look like that, but he looks especially goofy. Arondir and his group are still moping around in the darkness, wondering whether or not they should let this girl go. Guess what he decides to do? Oh, I'm gonna let you go. Only for her to turn the sword on him. Dude, she tries to make an excuse and is like, well, they'll cast me out. You know they'll cast me out. What am I gonna do? Just leave then. I like how Arondir is ready to kill her. This girl could have just left. She could have just run. But maybe because she saw Arondir, I don't know. Who cares? Then they get attacked by trees. I'm not kidding. And this part was really funny watching her get flung like that. First of all, she should have died or broken her freaking back. But these trees are mad because the people are cutting them down. And the tree asks if this guy ever took an axe to any trees. He says, to my great pain, I have, but oh, that was the wrong answer. So he's trying to talk to them. And I'm there wondering, okay, if they need to cut down wood to live, are they not supposed to? Like, what are they supposed to use? Do they see all trees as sentient? I mean, do you go killing the birds that woodpeck some trees to get grubs? Or big animals that mow down trees to get to the leaves at the top? You kill all those animals? Why is it a problem when humans or humanoid creatures do it? I mean, all of them are part of the ecosystem, so if they're utilizing the trees and at least they're giving back to the forest, shouldn't be an issue. So they say, no, it's the orcs that were doing it, man. We're trying to go after those things.
The spilling sap and burning branch calls to us from afar.
How much sap needs to be spilled before you guys come running and swinging?
How long ago was this?
Winter bloom nourished many of those trees from seed and sprout. Do not ask her to speak more of it.
What if you have parasitic vines that start eating the trees very slowly? Do they go after the vines? What if lightning strikes one of the trees? What if there's a natural fire? I mean, there's so many things that happen. They're natural causes, but if humans and elves and stuff are part of the natural environment, you know, the orcs are doing way more damage than the individual humans would do, even if they're in a group. So why are you coming after the humans? Why would it have been an issue if they took any axe to trees? Like, you're a resource. Animals literally use you to give birth in and to shit in and to eat from. Is it only some trees that are important and the sentient ones are, or all trees? Because that makes things very confusing. By that logic, everyone is a problem. Unless you have mud huts or something, most people are going to be using wood and stone in some capacity. Are they allowed to take some of your branches and you won't die? Or is it you cutting down the trees from the root that's the problem?
They are no different from that. Uprooting branch breakers and trunk splitters.
Okay, so they don't like them breaking branches either. So, like, is it just because they're humanoids? Because other animals break branches as well. But you're not going after them. That's racism. Like, I know it seems petty. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. But again, nature uses trees all the time. Beavers build entire dams by gnawing on tree trunks and gnawing through them. Look at them. Look at them just peeling the skin off that tree. Look at what they're doing. And these trees aren't fully dead either. Like, dude, look at what all the trees they're chopping down. Look at that. And they do it in a slow way and just putting all these tree body parts to make their house.
Bowing, uprooting branch breakers and trunk splitters all!
And this bitch is like, nah, you filthy humanoids take it too far with your chairs and fire hood. Like, is she also gonna hold a grudge against the birds for nesting in there? Or for fungi breaking down fallen logs? Or as I said, the parasitic vines? Why aren't the beavers on her hit list for damming up rivers with their tree-chomping behaviors? And I'm not saying they have beavers here, but I'm guessing they do because they have an alternate version of these animals in these worlds. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more different animals in the ecosystems that utilize trees. Why are humanoids the only ones getting the tip of the branch? Ew. And how much tree chopping is too much? So Arendir's like, it's okay, and she just forgives him. And they go back to resting in their tree stumps. And then she opens up her legs, and there is Theo. He was in there all along. I don't know, like, whatever. Isildur's like, oh, remember me, okay? You got a very big back. I'm sorry. You got a very, doesn't matter. You're okay now. And they're all kissy, kissy, lovey, lovey. And then we see, oh, what is this?
Hagen. I thought you...
So did I.
You're stupid! You look stupid!
Bitch, why are you mad? She led with the conversation saying she had a fiance. I mean, if anything, you should be concerned that she's all up in your mouth when she says she has someone waiting for her that she loves very much. Why would you trust someone like that? Even if you got her as a girlfriend, the minute that she's with someone else and you're out of sight, she's gonna be trying to chomp down on his flesh sword. That's not somebody you wanna go after, unless you're trying to just bang once and leave, but clearly that's not what's happening, so you got played.
I can't believe you're here. Look at you.
That's right, get your ass up and get yourself a girlfriend that doesn't belong to someone else. So the trees walk away hand in hand, and this guy's like, thanks for coming for me. Yeah, what you should be doing is apologizing to him for speaking to him the way you did. You selfish little post-nut thing. You're pretending like he didn't lose your mother either. God, he's so entitled, I can't stand him. So then we go to the orcs marching. The elves are upon them. And of course, the orcs can smell elf flesh. And all hell breaks loose. One of the elves gets hurt, and she's able to kind of sort of heal him because she's wearing the ring. They're like, oh my god, the ring actually fixes people? That's so freaking awesome. Galadriel tells him to take the ring. The one person who doesn't want to have anything to do with it, so she can deal with the orcs. She bravely comes and says, I stand alone. And she fights her way through them, but it doesn't last very long because she is quickly surrounded, and as she tries to make her escape, she's yanked from her horse, only to come face to face with Adar. And Elrond and the others make off with the ring, and Elrond believes that the only reason that Galadriel gave him the ring was so she could save the ring and not them. He tells the other elves not to get it twisted. It is what it is. That's it for that part of the adventure for episode 4 of season 2 of Rings of Power, Lord of Mercy. I wish the writing was a little bit better in this. So far, the only character that I'm completely invested in is Sauron, like I said, because everyone else just feels very superficial, to the point where when I stop watching this, I quickly forget what happened. Let's see how it all culminates.
Nobody goes up here.
And nobody walks alone.